Zijn heiligheid de Dalai Lama is de spiritueel leider van het Tibetaanse volk. Wereldwijd geeft hij lezingen over het belang van ethisch handelen. Mensen stromen naar een uitverkocht Ahoy, aangetrokken door zijn eenvoud en humor. In de ochtend geeft hij les over de basiswaarden van het Tibetaans boeddhisme. In de middag spreekt hij over welzijn, wijsheid en compassie in de seculiere samenleving. En hij benadrukt de noodzaak om spiritualiteit en ethiek meer te integreren in het onderwijs.
So first I would like to welcome His Holiness. We understand that Your Holiness has just been in Norway to celebrate the fact that it was 25 years ago that Your Holiness received the Nobel Prize for Peace. And we congratulate you once again for that well-deserved honor.
Dharma friends, or spiritual brothers, sisters, indeed I am very happy having this opportunity, meeting with people. So basically, wherever I go, I always in the mind that we are same human being, no differences. Actually, 7 billion human beings, we are same. Everyone wants happy life. So, that we really need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. If we really have that kind of mental attitude, then no basis to quarrel or violence or cheating. Another my commitment about religious harmony. So all major religious traditions, in spite different philosophy and certain different concepts, but all have same potential to bring inner peace through practice of love, tolerance, forgiveness. So, all major world religious tradition say immense help to humanity, not only in the past, but even present and future also. At the same time, out of 7 billion, over 1 billion non-believer, these also human beings. They also want happy life. So also the thing which promotion of human value, that afternoon my talk, mainly secular ethics, I'm going to speak. Now here, about spirituality, now mainly Buddhism. I think basically, you see, we need to know among major world religious tradition, 2 groups, one theistic group, one non-theistic. Now Buddhism is one of the tradition which have no concept of creator. The only Buddhism is no concept of independent self. That means beside this body and mind, some separate thing, self. I think only Buddhism is reject independent self beside body and mind. The rest of all theistic or non-theistic, all accept is a soul. Buddhism only concept of a non-soul theory. So now, this morning, lecture on Buddhism. I think firstly, Heart Sutra is common for all Buddhist countries whose main tradition, Sanskrit tradition, which mainly come from Nalanda. So then, I think Japanese is actually from Chinese tradition. So therefore, I think Chinese tradition, I always describe the Chinese Buddhist historically senior student of Buddha. We Tibetan, junior student of Buddha. One minute. Usually, it's this strong light. I have, so on my own, this one. This one.
Zijn heiligheid
Now
heeft
this
een
morning,
pet.
I received this, so I wear this. Now no need formality or ceremony way. The Buddhist teaching is not ceremonial or ritual. Really, they explain about the reality. Mainly now, as a spirituality, the reality of our mind, our emotion. Then how to sort of tackle our mind. So usually I describe the Buddhist way of approach is utilize human intelligence maximum way, through that way transform our emotions. So that's the Buddhist way. Buddha stated, "Oh, my follower, monks, scholars, should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment." So that's Buddhism in general. So therefore, they investigate the reality. It's the key thing. So sometimes, you see, we, including we Tibetan Buddhists, you see, we too much relying on rituals, ceremonies. I think that in a way that's easier. Just some chanting and use some sort of horns or different instrument. Looks very nice. And uneducated people, much attraction. And also the sacred dance, cham. So like that, almost like entertainment. So this, I think, we too much, I think, too much sort of emphasis on superficial thing. Now time come, we must go the root of Nalanda tradition. That's the real sort of Buddhist teaching. The fundamental sort of Buddhist teaching. That's very, very important. Buddhist science. Science which come from Buddhist literature. But itself, not religion. Just explanation about reality. So last 30 years, I have sort of serious sort of discussion with scientists, modern scientists. So discussion. We are not discussing with scientists about religion, but simply science. So the modern science, highly developed about matters, particles, wonderful. So we learned from them very, very useful sort of, explanation. Then the science of mind, science of emotion, the modern scientist, particularly the medical scientist and brain specialist, brain scientist, they really very much sort of appreciate the knowledge or explanation about mind. So that's science of mind. So you see, dialogue, modern science and Buddhist science, or in other words, ancient Indian psychology, really mutual benefit. The real destroyer of inner peace is not a weapon, not a physical illness, but destructive emotion destroy our peace of mind. So when we everywhere now sort of slogan, world peace, peace must come through inner peace. Who disturbs inner peace? Not people, not a technology, but our own certain emotions. Because these emotions destroy peace of mind and eventually brings illness, too much worry, too much anger, too much stress, actually eating our immune system. So therefore, real destroyer of peace, inner peace, is these certain emotions. Therefore, we describe destructive emotion. So among emotion, destructive emotion, constructive emotion. So simply explain these things. Is it something useful? Not considered as a religion, but simply for our health, healthy body, healthy family, healthy community. Finally, you see, healthy humanity or happy world. So, the very concept of Four Noble Truths, based on law of causality, cause and effect. So suffering also is due to its own causes. The happiness, and particularly permanent happiness, also depend on its own causes. So the Four Noble Truths concept based on law of causality. That is the one I think unique as a Buddhist sort of, as a philosophical view, is interdependency, interconnectedness. So there are two levels. One level, the meaning of interdependency is law of causality. Result entirely depend on causes. Then another level of understanding about the interdependency. That is now thinking more seriously. Cause also depend on result. Is a cause become cause because of result. Without result, we can't say cause. So that sort of relation does not mean cause come from result, but very existence of cause depend on other factor. That's the result. So that's the deeper level of the meaning of interdependency. So now here, the modern physics, quantum physics, are very similar now here. When we investigate things, now of course the matter are based on matter, it's a physical. So investigate the grosser level further because of breakdown, then particles, further goes atom, further goes quark, further goes nothing. So things, the matters does not exist by objectively. So the quantum physicists find a little bit dilemma. Now what is the reality? As far as the matter is concerned, what is the reality? The conclusion is mental designation, not objectively exist. So that's the mathematical philosophy. Now say that things does not exist by objectively. But finally, the reality just a mere designation. But at the same time, all designated not necessarily because they exist. So its nature or reality is mere designation. Quantum physics is something like first step, the explanation about emptiness. Similarly, consciousness, no particle, physical particle, but continuation. Consciousness, there must be continuation. So moment to moment, we can say this morning's consciousness, so past consciousness, coming at a future consciousness, and then present consciousness. Now further investigate what is present. Beside past and future, no present. Year, month, week, days, and then hours, minutes, seconds, no present. 1 second, up to 1 second past, 1 second future. There's no present, no present. So without present, and then impossible to say past and future. The designation about past and future entirely depend on present. But present itself we can't find. So that's the in India, over 2,000 years, you see this concept, you see, analyze this concept. Buddha's own word, now analyze now these things. And then Nagarjuna, particularly Nagarjuna, so also the detailed explanation about that. Really wonderful, really wonderful. So that's the another level of reality. So the concept of true truth, conventional level of truth, the ultimate level, another truth. So now this, you see, this is very helpful. Is to make distinction, appearances and reality. There's always a gap, appearances and reality. So now what's relevant for now Buddhist practice? The Buddha state, the ultimate source of suffering is ignorance. It's quite clear. Everybody, every sentient being wants a happy life. do not want suffering. Yet, the many causes of suffering is our own creation. Why? Ignorance. So, the ignorance, there are two levels. One ignorance, even conventional level, is some, sort of misunderstanding or ignorance. Say, oh, now for example, I think obviously, oh, happiness, joyful life come from money. If you are rich, oh, everything, okay. So we very much sort of try to make more money. That also, I think, some kind of ignorance. Real, source of happiness or satisfaction or calm mind is within ourselves. As I mentioned before, logically, the real destroyer of peace of mind is within our emotion. So we do not sort of pay much attention. We not pay much attention about these. And we consider, even if some people, anger or release some your sort of inner sort of state because of the pressure. So some people say, oh, today I fought with someone. I really now feel happy. So this kind of ignorance. And of course, the people who indulge in violence, they consider violence can solve the problem. There's also ignorance. Violence creates counter-violence, endless violence. So violence always creates anger, hatred here. That's the source of violence. So continuously. So therefore, conventional level, the ignorance which do not know their law of causality, that on the level of conventional level, so that's one level of ignorance. How that happen? The deeper level of ignorance, which grasping things are independently existence. So good or bad, also something absolute. So enemy also absolute. That also related with self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude also is very much also involved with self-grasping. I, something independent self. More grasping that, then more self-centered attitude come. So then we sort of grasping enemy, friend, something absolute. Then the destructive work happen. So once, we realize, enemy, also relative. Due to many other factors, enemy happen. Among the factors, you also include, due to some of your own sort of word or something, then the enemy come. So therefore, we can't find absolute enemy. So the concept of selflessness or concept of absence of independent existence, usually we call, or emptiness. Emptiness does not mean nothingness. Emptiness is things exist, but the existence entirely due to other factor, not by itself. Never objectively exist, but due to other factor, it exists, it worked. So that's the, so now third noble truth related with that. So once we understand the ultimate reality, then this force grasping reduce. As a result, strong sort of division, where we and they, I and other, reduce. So positive side, too much attachment, also you see, depend on grasping, independent, absolute, beautiful, absolute good. Negative as well. So understanding of emptiness is antidote these fundamental wrong conception, like that. So understanding about that reality is fourth noble truth, path. So altruism, compassion, these also the important in the path, but main weapon to destroy ignorance is the wisdom, which understand about ultimate reality. So that we call shunyata. So understanding about that then brings the awareness, oh, there is possibility to overcome suffering, because ultimate source of suffering is ignorance. Ignorance have powerful antidote. So the antidote cultivate, and through familiarization, it's gain more strength than ignorance, weaken. Ultimately, the very nature of mind is pure. Therefore, we can separate these distorted, ignorance. So that through that way, analyze that way, you can develop conviction or possibility of cessation. That we call salvation, and including Buddhahood. So the Four Noble Truths, the concept of Four Noble Truths, very much related, very much based on law of causality. The law of causality, because of absence of independent existence. So that's Buddhism in general, and particularly Nalanda sort of explanation. That's the way. If you use common sense, oh, there's something quite interesting, isn't it? Even non-believer, it's not necessary to accept the next life or some other things. Quite interesting to think these things, analyze these things. So many scientists, not religious-minded, but showing genuine interest about these things. So a lot of sort of discussions with scientists, useful, mutual benefit, as I mentioned before. So that's the introduction of Buddhism in general, particularly Nalanda tradition.
Your Holiness, you've been living a very long and very interesting life. And I would like to ask you if there is anything you regret about and something you would probably like to change.
I think when my age, about 10, around 10, I think best period for serious study, but I neglected, and I remain very lazy. So then sometimes I feel regret. Next question.
Is it true that they say that you are the last Dalai Lama?
That nobody knows. Actually, as early as 1969, one of my formal statement, official statement, I mentioned whether the very institution of Dalai Lama should continue or not up to Tibetan people. So this is not much sort of important matter. It's up to people. So I have no concern. Okay.
Thank you.
You see, the concerned people feel this institution, I think 6 centuries, this institution started. So this institution, if people feel, majority of the people feel irrelevant, then automatically cease. In that case, I will be last Dalai Lama. So, very good. Sometimes I jokingly telling people, it is good. Almost this is 6 centuries old sort of tradition, Dalai Lama institution, and with quite popular 14th Dalai Lama. It's good. Thank you.
You have said in the past that your enemies are your most important teacher.
That's right.
What did you learn from China?
Very good for the practice of unbiased love. Usually our sort of love is only our friends. And usually our love, mainly biological factor. You see, that is very much oriented about others' attitude. So, therefore, that kind of love, compassion, cannot extend towards your enemy because their attitude is negative. Now, through training, use human intelligence, long-term interest, then we can develop unbiased love. And actually, I think say love more, objectively.
But do you succeed in it? Do you have to practice that every day?
Yes.
You practice?
And particularly after 2008 crisis. Actually, 10th March 2008.
When the riots happen in
afternoon,
Tibet?
One of my staff member, one official, received one telephone call from Lhasa. Now people in some part of Lhasa moving demonstration. Then immediately I felt, 59 10th March sort of experience. Then hopeless, much anxiety. So then I practice the Buddhist sort of practice, take and give. Take their anger, their fear, and the Chinese, those hardliner officials, their suspicion, and give them patience, compassion, spirit of forgiveness. Or forgiveness, I don't know, like that. So that no any help to solve the problem, but as far as peace of my mind, in order to keep peace of mind, immense help. So I practice that. So therefore, you see, unbiased sort of love is not oriented about others' attitude, but people themselves, like myself, they want happy life, do not want suffering, do not want problem. Yes. So they also have the right to overcome suffering, to achieve happy life. So that's the basis, the universal, infinite love.
I've lived a couple of years in China, and I've seen many more people become Buddhist in China.
Yes.
And also many more temples have been built in the past decade. If I'm well informed, 2 million. What does that mean for China? What does it mean for China?
Of course, China, historically, a Buddhist country. In fact, Buddhism, reached China, I think at least 3-4 centuries earlier then to Tibet and Mongolia.
Yes.
So whenever I give some lecture on Chinese Buddhist, I always say, mention, you are historically senior student of Buddha Shakyamuni. We are junior. So it's our custom, our tradition, respect. So I always say, showing respect to them. Then meantime, also little joke, half joke, as far as knowledge is concerned, junior student, not bad.
But still, many...
So therefore, many Chinese, as a matter of fact, you see, 2 years ago, in New York, some Chinese writers, and then some intellectuals, and then that meeting, 2 Chinese scholars or intellectuals directly come from Peking. And our meeting, all say, they now people from China, the moral ethics, very, very low. As a matter of fact, 5,000-year history. Now this is the lowest period. So then all express hope. You see, they rebuild, you see, the moral ethics. They believe Buddhism can help.
Because the government not only allows but promotes Buddhism, what does it mean for Tibet?
So I think, obviously, the president of China, Xi Jinping, when he visited Europe and Paris, he expressed, you see, for Chinese culture, Buddhism is very, very important. Therefore, Buddhists should take more more responsibility about Chinese culture. So I think nobody expected that. A communist leader.
But his wife is Tibetan Buddhist.
Yes, you see, communist leader talking some kind of appreciation about Buddhism is something quite new.
And hopeful?
In 1954, in 55, I spent, I think, at least 5-6 months, 5 months in Peking itself. During that period, I met number of occasions meeting with Chairman Mao Zedong. And one occasion...
You met his father?
No. Chairman Mao Zedong. So one occasion, Chairman Mao Zedong told me, my thinking is more scientific. So then Mao Zedong told me, religion is poison.
Yes.
So same party. Now, after a few generations, new generation of leadership, now talking some kind of appreciation of Buddhism.
Yes.
And of course, Xi Jinping's family, see, according to my friend, many of them, tell me, Xi Jinping's family are Buddhist family. And particularly Xi Jinping's mother, very, very faithful about Buddhism. And of course, now last few years, I met a number of Chinese Buddhists. In spite of some their difficulties, they come to see me, mainly in India, and receive some sort of lecture on Buddhism. Basically, you see, Chinese people, hardworking, and realistic. We can see wherever Chinese community there, whether in India, whether in America, whether in Australia, wherever they live, they kept their culture, their faith, including Buddhism. So they are hardworking. I remember, one mayor of Vancouver, I think Vancouver in Canada, Chinese, he told me when he first immigrated Vancouver or Canada, only $10 in his pocket. Then through hard work, educated, then become quite rich, then eventually become mayor of the town. This shows they are really hardworking and realistic. And Chinese people, generally speaking, cultured people.
And then, really, the most populated nation, 1.3 billion population. So, People's Republic of China is very, very important. Not only concerned for 1.3 billion human beings, but also it's a whole Asia, and economic reasons, other reasons, the whole world, the People's Republic of China is very, very important. Now, sometimes you see their leadership, you see, they carry certain their policy out of fear. That's, I think, mistake. Now should have the great nation, 5,000 years of history. So then they can do more constructive sort of contribution, rule on the whole global level. So I wish, I pray always that.
Erika Terpstra is een van de ambassadeurs van de Dalai Lama in Nederland. Zij ontmoette de Dalai Lama eerst als Tweede Kamerlid en later als voorzitter van het Nederlands Olympisch Comité.
Your Holiness, you speak to all of us. You offer us a path to an ethical and happy life, and to a global human community based on understanding and mutual respect. And we need it. I believe that the time we now live is unique. Due to science, technology, and spiritual teachings, human beings could awaken to their true potential in larger number than ever. Wise and compassionate leadership has never been so imperative. For us, for me, you are an ocean of wisdom.
Your Holiness, in your global aspirations for a better world, you have never forgotten your own people, no matter how difficult it is sometimes to find reasons for hope in the context of immense and profound suffering. With such remarkable determination and focus, you stand by us, raising awareness of the most momentous struggle of our brothers and sisters in Tibet. Freedom never meant the freedom to discard the responsibility to stand up for those who are not free. Being on the safe side never meant to you to stop working to bring more profound security for all of us. As you often mention, Your Holiness, change only takes place through action.
Everybody wants happy life. Do not want suffering. And because of that, everybody have right from birth to achieve happy life. So, on that level, we can communicate heart to heart. And we really need a sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. If we really create some kind of attitude, entire 7 billion human beings are human brothers, sisters, there's no room for violence. The violence entirely based on strong concept of we and they. Topmost sort of was the concern about our interest or my interest, and no bother their interest. That's the basis. Violence, cheating, exploitation. This is not a question of religious faith. This is a question of 7 billion human beings' survival. So therefore, now time comes. We should talk more about these values. And particularly, people who involve education must think more seriously now how to educate these values from kindergarten up to university level. So, I am one of the 7 billion human beings. So, as my own share, wherever I go, I always talk these things. This also, because it involved my own interest. If humanity happy, I get maximum happiness. Humanity remains some troubled. How can one individual live happily? So for one's own interest, we have to think others' well-being. After all, we are a social animal. Even bees, who are making sort of one is the honey, these also, no religion, no constitution, no police force, but they act as a one community, a sense of community there. It's a question of their survival. So we, 7 billion human beings, our own question of survival. So we need happy society, happy humanity. So that's fact. Basically, now we are in 21st century, and in spite of the wonderful sort of development in technology and in general speaking, education, and also health, and also the economic condition. Of course, still, you see, we need a lot of work, but generally highly developed, but still we are facing a lot of problems. Major portion of these problems are essentially man-made problems. So man-made problem ultimately related with the secondary level of differences. Different nationality, different system, different country, even different religious faith. And then within the same community, differences rich and poor, educated, uneducated, with too much emphasis on secondary level of differences. But that's the basis of all these man-made problems. If we go fundamental level, oneness of humanity, then these man-made problems, I think, automatically will reduce. So now here, the concept of one truth, one religion, and the concept of several truth, several religions, looks contradiction, but no contradiction. In the terms of plural, in the terms of community, then concept of several truth, several religion is relevant. In terms of individual practitioner, the concept of one truth, one religion is relevant. So there's no problem, no contradiction, clear. So now question, how to promote inner value to those non-believer. If you try to promote moral ethics on the basis of religion, then multi-religious community what religion? Problem. Therefore, India's constitution, modern India's constitution, based on secularism because of multi-religious community. So according to Indian understanding, secularism means respect all religion, not disrespect or not distance from religion, but rather respect all religions. And also some unique thing about the Indian understanding about secularism is respect non-believers. Over 3,000 years, that tradition there. So, when we think entire 7 billion human beings, how to approach 7 billion human beings to make awareness, importance of moral ethics, there's no other choice except secular way. And secular, as I mentioned earlier, respect all religion. Therefore, as a matter of fact, all major religious tradition based on secular ethics. One of my book, Beyond Religion, Ethics about Beyond Religion, actually using this title, not my recommendation, but a publisher made that. So when I saw that, I a little bit sort of today concerned, because you see, the point which I mentioned in that book is something beyond means something above religion. That's wrong. Beyond means religion, there is boundary. Now, the ethics which I am going to state is no boundary and cover entire 7 billion human beings. So that's the meaning of beyond. So all major religious tradition, you see, carry these basic human values: love, affection, forgiveness. These are the basic human values. So now, how to promote that? Through education, from kindergarten up to university level. I think I mentioned before also, you see, the systematic sort of education about warm-heartedness and moral ethics. I think that's the only way. So, recent years, after sort of experiment, some scientists, some educationists, you see, they carry some experiment about moral ethics on the based, also the secular way. So it quite sort of convincing, the good result. So the education institution in America and also in India, some universities also now involve further sort of research work, how to introduce secular, the education about warm-heartedness on the basis of secular way, how to fit in a secular education field. So we are working. So I think in near future, I think some curriculum may produce. So then here, Holland also, you see, at least there's a few, a few sort of school. You see, carry these things, and then, as an experiment, then watch the result. If the result is quite good, then 10 school, 100 school, like that, you can do. So that actually is we are working. So that's about my talk, the promotion of moral ethics based on secular concept, which can cover entire 7 billion human beings. Then, through such education, perhaps within this century, maybe our way of life a little bit become richer. Up to now, way of life very much oriented about economy value, material value. And the existing education system itself oriented about material value. So lack of moral principle. Even among the believers also corrupted believers there. So therefore, I think we have to think seriously in education field, or through education, to cultivate awareness about moral principle is the source of happy life, individual level, family level, community level, global level. Of course, me, myself, and perhaps most probably you also, I think we will not see is that. But after my generation, the younger generation, those people, usually I call the generation of 21st century, you may see the new sort of way of thinking of humanity. Then this century can be century of peace. Through prayer, I feel effect from prayer is limited. Through action, action comes from sort of what's the motivation. Motivation, shaping motivation through awareness. Awareness through education. So that's, I think, only sort of hope to bring better world, happier world. That's everybody's sort of responsibility, not government level. Even United Nations cannot do much. We, individual human beings, think more seriously, and it's a further discussion among ourselves. Then start a peaceful life from individual, family, community, through that way, global. That's my talk. Thank you. So, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Take rest. Now today, Sunday, isn't it? Now go home, rest. Bye-bye. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Luister ook naar onze uitzendingen op Radio 5. Iedere dinsdagavond, talkshow Oba Live en Hemelsbreed. Ga voor meer informatie naar onze website www.bosrtv.nl.